So this is my This I Know For Sure speech. So when I was younger, I thought I knew everything. And I was definitely the kid who went into school and I didn't think I needed to be there. I thought I knew everything for life that I needed to know. And I would say, oh, why do I need to know this? I'm not going to use this ever again. And now that I've grown up, I've learned some life lessons and I'm really glad I have. And here are some things that I've picked up that I definitely know for sure. Your intelligence isn't based off labels. If it doesn't bring you happiness, you don't need it, and know what you need to be your best self. My first This I Know For Sure is your intelligence isn't defined by labels. This is my 8th grade graduation photo, and my middle school teachers had recommended me for all normal level classes, which was fine because everyone always tells you high school is so hard, and I knew I didn't want to take AP and honors classes from the get-go. When I finally got to high school, my first week, I realized none of that was true, and I ended up switching to the AP and honors track. And while it was fine for me my sophomore and freshman year, by the time junior year came around, I was taking 4 AP classes, and at the end of the year, it was just too much for me. I was burnt out, my brain couldn't take it anymore, and I did not do as well as I had hoped because it was more about getting through the year rather than learning and getting a good grade. And that was a big lesson that I learned, that you don't need to be in AP and honors classes to be considered smart, which is what I thought. So my first piece of evidence is from Rachel Hernandez from the Why Not Taking AP Classes Has Made Me Smarter. She said, I can honestly say that I have never in my life been around a more disgruntled group of people. Students were literally throwing tantrums after finding out they were not going to get straight A's this time around. I never understood why they were so upset, but then it hit me. Some of these kids have never gotten below a 4.0 in their lives. They physically couldn't fathom being less than perfect, or dare I say average. And this is definitely what I thought too, and is pretty much the AP class culture summed up in a quote. Because so many of my friends, and I thought this, that if I wasn't getting straight A's, I wasn't being my best person, being my best self, and I wasn't good enough, and that I was always bringing myself down, and I wasn't happy because I was focusing on a single letter. And that brings me to my next quote, which is a little less related, but if it doesn't bring you happiness, you don't need it. That's a quote from the book, The Life-Changing Method of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo. And I really like this, and I learned this past summer. I'm a little bit of a cluttered person, and dare I say hoarder, and my friend confronted me about this in the nicest way possible, and we cleaned out my room together. And I was able to go through and find stuff that I probably had since I was like in 3rd grade, and I got rid of it and gave it to someone who needed it more than I did, or just threw it away if it was garbage, because I definitely had a lot of trash that I didn't need anymore. And I'm glad I did this because it gave me a better workspace, and going into senior year, I had a more open mind, and I was able to go home and do my homework in a space that I could actually be productive in. Now that we're in quarantine again, I did this again, and I was able to do another box of stuff to donate once we're out of quarantine, and with the hectic life that we have going on now, it has helped me become more relaxed and focus on things that are important rather than just stuff in my room. And this brings me to my second piece of evidence by Natalie Kogan in the Happier.com. She said, if you hesitate or say no, you donate it or throw it away. It's simple, it's brilliant, and it's something that's completely intuitive. You can spend a lot of time justifying how something might be at some point useful to you, and therefore decide to keep it. But whether something brings you joy or is an emotional question, and one that can be answered almost instantly. If you feel joy or if you don't feel joy, there is no need to make it more complicated than that. And that pretty sums up what the quote, if it doesn't bring you happiness, get rid of it, is. It's pretty much, if it doesn't bring you joy or usefulness in your life, then you don't need it. And I really like that, and that's something I'm definitely going to use in the future, because I am now able to have a more better space for me to work and a more open mind, and I can be more relaxed, which is my third This I Know For Sure. Know what you need to be your best self. When you're younger, your parents have a big schedule for you and they know what you need and you stick to it. But as I've gotten older, my parents have given me more independence and I've had to create my own schedule. And something that I know that I need to do to be my best self is going to bed by 10:30. I hold myself to this, and this is a standard that I will always hold myself to, is that if I need to be productive the next day and be a good student and go to school, that I need my 8 hours of sleep because I get up at 6, and so by going to bed 10:30, I am well rested the next day. Other things that I do for myself is doing yoga, and it keeps me active. Or you can do self-care. I really like to have my hair done for the day, and it makes me feel good about myself. And my third piece of evidence is by Scott Berry, and he said, it turns out that Abraham Maslow was pretty spot on with his proposed list of basic needs. A large number of studies have confirmed that humans across cultures need to have autonomy, competence, relatedness, security, and self-esteem. And by having standards for yourself and knowing what you need, your self-esteem goes up and you become a better person that you didn't know that you could be. So, in conclusion, as a kid, even though I didn't know everything, I've definitely learned some things along the way, whether it was a good or bad lesson. And I hope that if I could go back, it would be advice to my past self. Thank you.